Hey there, guys. This is Local Crusader here, also known now as Too Much Milk. This is a literal, after editing out a little bit of it, was an actual 35-minute match that I put into 28 minutes because honestly, if I'd cut down everything, it seemed like a regular old match, and I don't want it to be like that. This is by far my longest ever Dead by Daylight match as a killer. The only other match I've ever had that was this long was with like Ghostface, and it was like it wasn't even as long as this. It was like maybe 10-15 minutes, which is like an average Dead by Daylight match. If you know you're playing killer correctly with like a 3-gen and yada yada yada. I just want to explain that this match was actually quite fun for me, although I around some parts it did get very boring because it dragged on, and honestly I kind of feel bad for even playing the way I did in this match. Just to let you also know, I am running a Mori of Legion gameplay, and the perks I have are Deadlock, Jolt. I think the one is called Discordance, no, the one Legion perk that tells you if two people are working on a gen, and then I think Purgatory from Executioner. Either way, this is just my perk setup. It's like a lot of gen delay, although with Purgatory and Discordance, it's not really about just stopping gens. It's just to know where people are, since Legion's ability mostly works with, you know, trying to find groups and getting as much information as you can. Although this game, my ability to use Feral Frenzy was quite horrible. I kind of missed a couple of my nights. Yeah, you're probably about to see it right now. There you go. But I just want to explain that this should not be normal. Don't run this perk setup unless you're interested in running like a 30-minute game. Because, yeah, honestly, I kind of deterred to anything. I use this perk list because this is kind of like the perk list I use when I'm running Ghostface, as Purgatory helps me run away with red stains, you know, terror radius, and all the shebang, so I can use this ability as best as I can. But with Legion, it kind of just does the opposite. But, yeah, try your best to enjoy the video. I'm not going to be talking through all of this, although occasionally I will, you know, give like a couple of 2 cents as to like my thought process during this entire match. As you know, there are some learning experiences for me and you if you are interested, or if you're an older DBD player, you know, just make fun of me for my mistakes. And honestly, I would even be upset if you just hit me with like a fucking dislike, because this is just peak degeneracy when I was playing as with Legion. Also, it's like 10, 11 where I'm at right now, so I'm extremely tired, and I woke up from a nap not too long ago. So talk to you guys later, and I'll occasionally just give my, you know, insight or thought process on some of these things I did. Okay, I came back quite quickly to explain to you guys that, yeah, this person was my tunnel target, as seeing as I've already lost 2 gens, I need to apply as much pressure and try to eliminate somebody as quickly as possible. Also, I completely ignored one side of the map, considering the fact that I have around 3 to 4 gens in one area, which is actually pretty decent to have a hold on. A lot of survivors don't like it when somebody has like running a 3-gen, but honestly, with stuff like brand new Part, where you can finish gens in I think 30-40 seconds when it's supposed to be I think a minute per gen, you kind of have to do, you know, this type of stuff. Also, you'll see me occasionally start a chase with somebody that I've hit and then walk away. It's because when I know that they're gonna be doing loops around like trucks and stuff like that, where they have like a really decent pallet that they can constantly do the loops around, I'll just leave so I can go back to running the 3 gen. As running a 3 gen is pretty important when you're already down to, as you see right now, 2 gens as another one already popped. All from the one side that I've completely ignored, which is part of the plan, you know. Yeah, that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later when another part comes up. Also, check the Legion fit. Nice ass fit. That's all I have to say on that part. Also, just want to explain in situations like this, you never want to play it super greedy. As you see, I was starting to get super aggressive, trying to at least try to knock her out or put her in a mending state. But all that did is make me waste a couple of time. Lucky enough, they never finished that gen that they were working so aggressively on earlier, which is surprising considering the fact that they could have, got rid of my stable 3 gen, and then that would have been like pretty fucking bad. They also started working on another gen. I don't know why, when they already had a perfectly fine generator. I was almost done. Like, look at that, it's 3 cylinders moving, the 4th one is moving slowly, so I meant it was at least 80 to 90%. Yeah, these survivors weren't playing as smart. You saw she dropped a flash grenade. Never really do that unless you're certain you can do it, like, when you're dropping a pallet, because that was just a waste of a flash. And if you continue, you can see that they're trying their best to be as separated as possible. This dude, he wasn't bad. He just wasn't expecting me to play the way that I was, and plus my perk does hide my red stain. So me doing all this was just strictly because I'm at like a complete advantage. I have a lower tear radius, no red stain. I forgot what the other one is. But basically, it's like Insidious, but way better. It's only related to a gen, though. That's why you constantly see me kicking gens, so I can keep my perk as updated as possible. You also see occasionally that I'll go fully for a chase, as to, well, losing a 3 gen at this point would almost be a guaranteed loss. And that's not what I'm trying to go for. What I'm trying to go for is to get as many players as I can. So, well, because it's blood point week where everybody is farming blood points, so I want some of that moolah. I want some of that green, the crimson chin blood currency, basically. And leaving a 3-gen unattended could lead to very bad situations where they'll finish 1-gen and then suddenly I have 2 gens in one area and 1-gen very far off into the distance, which is pretty bad. I want to keep all 3 gens in a constant way. This guy, he should have already had dropped pallet, as that way in case I ever tried to go around the corner, he could have just vaulted. You see, I'm just gonna explain to some of you survivors, being greedy with pallets is not a good thing to do. Only be greedy when you're guaranteed. Don't take a risk. You see, this dude, he got super greedy, and he tried jumping a pallet twice. It's a stupid plan. Don't ever do it. Also, don't feed killer pallets some of the times. Sometimes you do need to be greedy, but you should know when to and when not to. Because I also play Survivor in my spare time, usually with only friends. But yeah, that's about it. I'll come back to you guys later. The reason I hit that guy was honestly I thought his endurance had already ran out, and it would have been nice to already have another person on death hook, basically. But the plan didn't work out. I do believe the endurance effect is 10 seconds after hook, and I think I had only counted up to 7 or 8 seconds in my head, so it was just kind of rough. You also see that they constantly split up and move around, which is actually smart on their part. It constantly gives them the ability to, make sure I can't down all of them, because they all stay in a group. That's when I can slug all of them and basically get a guaranteed win. As later on, as I check their perks, they don't have unbreakable, but obviously at this point I don't know. The only thing I know is that one of them do have self-care, as 2 of them ran off in somewhat the same direction, but one ran off in a completely other direction, leaving them with just, one person obviously having self-care, which isn't this one. You also see that she tries to drag me off to this part of the map because she already knows I have a 3-gen. They all do at this point. But this girl is a rare specimen, and she tries her best to just loop me around the car and stuff like that. But, when you're running a loop like this, you don't even want to stay in the same spot for too long, because even though you could get a good loop up off of this, it's easy for a killer to farm bloodlust, which is actually quite simple. You see, as I'm building a bloodlust, but as soon as I saw the Scorpions come up, I kind of just threw the chase away, as I want to stop them from being able to work on a gen. As I've already said earlier, 3-gen, lose it, you basically lose the game early on. And there is no recovery. The only way you can recover this is if you are running a 4 per gen slowdown, which even at this point is a bit hefty. It's you want to have information perks with your slowdown, not just run all slowdown. Yeah, that's about it. Here I am back again. Now you see we're back at this loop with this, I think it's Sting. Honestly, I don't really care to try to remember Survivor characters' names. I just see Survivor and I go on hunting. As you see, she's trying to do the same loop on me again, where I'm just building a bloodlust, as I already know that what she's trying to do. She's trying to get me as close as possible, stun me, and then go on to another pallet, or another loop that she can loot me on for a good while. But you see, at this point, she had already fucking lost. Like, at this point, I was already on Bloodlust 3, and she was playing too greedy with the pallet. She should have already dropped the pallet not too long ago. Maybe when I was at Bloodlust level 2, when she saw that I almost had caught up to her at one of the points, and then I worked on, like, another path. Pallet should have already been dropped and moved on to a different location. Because she basically just sold herself at that point. She was getting too greedy. And as I keep emphasizing earlier on in the video, do not get greedy with pallets, because you fuck yourself over. And that puts and it puts the stress on her teammates because of the fact that, well, now they have one member that's down, and I'm back to holding down the 3-gen, which slows down their pace, and it gives me a chance to just slam generators and constantly regress everything. Because now they're in a shitty ass situation. Obviously, I see here that the gen was being worked on a little bit, and I don't see anybody here, so I assume they're hiding in lockers. Obviously, I kicked the gen to just regress it a little bit. You know, it's important to hold down the 3-gen. Obviously, see this person, and I just want to play around with them a little bit, see if they understand what I'm going for, and then I get a hit on her. Right? With this person, they're pretty good. They knew how to kind of loop me around, and you see that this chick, she doesn't become greedy with the pallet, you know? Because if she became greedy with the pallet, she was obviously going to get hit. And I was trying to bait her out because I knew she was in the locker, but she already knew I was going to fall for that. So she goes up. No, she goes into the back area. Honestly, I forgot all about this part as I'm working on just writing the commentary here, or we're just talking, as I have no script. This is just all in the moment recording. And then I started looking around to constantly hold down the 3-gen again and making sure that all the generators are not being worked on. Now, obviously, I see a person over here, and now my tear radius is still back as I see that the other gens, the gen I kicked before this, was already being worked on. Thus causing my other perk, Purgatory, or I don't even remember the name of the perk, honestly. So now my tear radius and red stain is for all to see. Honestly, I'm confused as to where the person went, so I checked the basement to see if they're, playing fucking hide and seek with me in my hometown, But now I'm back to only on the 3-gen, and they're all back at full health, which is pretty bad for me, but it's all good, honestly. Yeah, as long as I hold on the 3-gen, they can't really do much, which honestly I hate this type of playstyle, but it kind of happened early on that when I already lost 2 gens, I already knew I had to play the 3-gen quite early on, and it's better this way when you have perks like Jolt, Deadlock, and Discordance, as you can stop pretty abusive plays. I hit this guy with Feral Frenzy just so I can have a general idea of where the other survivors are and see if they're working on gens. This thing should have dropped the pallet, although probably not, considering the fact that, well, one, in Feral Frenzy, Legion can just hop over that shit. I see that the other survivor is all the way over here, and honestly, halfway through, I already realized I wasn't going to catch her, so I just gave up right around here. I think I actually, I go back and just hold on and see if I can try to get one of the survivors that I had already hit, as it's important for me to eliminate another one of the survivors. Obviously now my target is Fang, as she's somebody I've already hooked, and I've already hooked the other dude once. The Fang is somebody that constantly just runs away, and I can see her carrying a medkit a lot of the time, or with a toolbox. She runs around between one of the two. She just hides one of them. Benefit her in one of the other situations that she's in. Now, as we see again, she took me to the exact same place that me and her had already done a loop against each other with. Um, Honestly, I don't think she understands that this is not the greatest place to do a loop in, considering the fact that I've already done this. But she already dropped the pallet, although this one kind of just bites her in the butt later on. But she was playing this pretty smart. But at this point, I already had maxed out my bloodlust, basically to level 2. I think it was almost level 3, but yeah. So then she gave me another, basically a new hook stage for me to give her. And now that she's back on the hook, and I had no choice but to get off the 3-gen that I was back on. And you can see this 3-gen was holding the game together for me. And it's fighting between 2 generators. The one next to the hook and car, and the one in Killer Shack. And it's pretty hard considering the fact that they switch between the two. And now you see that this one is now gone, which now gives me another 3-gen, but one that's harder to control. But as long as I hold down Shack and the one in car, I should be able to hold down a pretty decent 3-gen. With the one in the middle, as it's a little bit harder for survivors to do anything in there, as it's filled with a bunch of walls and only one pallet and one vaultable window. That's about it right there. Now you guys see here, I already have this one on Deathhook, so it's important for me to at least get another one. That way, in case that they do get one last gen to be able to get done, I can at least end it off in a draw, although there are different rules depending on the type of thing you're trying to do. Some people consider even one survivor scathing a loss, but for me, I consider a 2 kill on survivor a draw, and then 3 or more a win, basically. But, you know, those are for the extreme DD players that like specific rule sets that they only like playing with. So my objective is to at least end it up in a draw. That way it's not really a win for me, but it's also not a win for, you know, the other players here involved. I got stuck on this little staircase. Honestly, I wasn't too upset by it. It just kind of ruined my momentum. I probably could have already caught her by the time on that window. And obviously I catch her here, as you know, bloodlust is hell of a drug. And now I hit her with the Mori, now I can, you know, get rid of one, considering the fact that I don't, you know, want to drag them all the way down here, or drag them here because there is no basement here, and the nearest hook is somewhere far away. It's better for me to get the Mori on them and just get it done with. And by the point, this guy already gave up, you know. And the 3-gen was basically already done, you know, like, the other people weren't going to get the other gens done. As soon as I got him, Jolt activated, and we already realized that the game plan was over. He gave up, so he had the second phase here, and basically the rest here is, done. I hit this generator to pop, I'm not even going to say the name of the perk anymore because I already gave up, you know. And you see here, I go back to Shack, and by the time I go into Shack, he basically already let himself die. He gave up. And now, my last objective is to find the last survivor, which I actually find quite quickly. If I'm not wrong, I'll come back onto recording when the video shows that I find the last survivor. Alright, now I'm slowing down the audio right around here, just because as soon as I started the chase with this survivor, this is basically when the match was already won. At this point, I basically already won, because as soon as this chick turns the corner and leads me into his direction, there's a certain audio cue that if you're well known or if you play a lot of DVD, you understand this sound cue. And it happens as soon as I get past this generator. And you're going to understand why, because as soon as we pass this generator and she gets far enough, I basically won the game for myself. As you see right now, I hear the sound cue of the hatch and I look in the direction of it, gauging where the hatch is supposed to be at. And as soon as she drove or ran past this place right here, I went right back. Tricking her. They're thinking that, I'm going to keep the chase going, but no, I went straight for hatch, closing it. And at this point, I had already won the match. The chase was going to go in my favor, and if she kept running, the scratch marks were just going to lead me to her. There was no, good way of her winning the situation as soon as she passed the hatch. Honestly, in her situation, she should have just let me get a hit off. And if she had heard the hatch, I highly doubt she did, because then she would have ran in the direction of it. But, kind of screwed herself over. And as soon as we get to this part, that was game. I got a hit off on her, and basically the rest is history, but I'll keep the recording going on so you guys can see how the match ends, and that'll be in the end of my part. Have a good day, everybody. I know this is a long-ass fucking video, but enjoy yourselves, and as I said again, I understand that this playstyle isn't particularly liked by a lot of people, but in the situation that I was in, I had no choice but to play dirty. But have a good day, everybody. Bye.